nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll do a roll call, please.
Belsky.
Here.
Berg.
Here.
Beth. Celebrate. Ron Frederick. Gashke.
Here.
Gentz. Grady.
Aye.
Gully.
Here.
Kubicki.
Here.
Lewis. Nordigan. O'Day. Palmaville.
Aye.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Rose.
Aye.
Wambold. Uhas. Supervisors Decker, Franco, Boyd Frederick, Mauer, and Nudo are excused. We have 18 supervisors present.
Citizens' comments. Citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments? Step up to the podium, sir. Your name and address?
Microphone, please.
Thank you very much. Okay to take off my mask for this? Okay. My name is Brad Backer. My address is 4426 7th Street, Kenosha, 53144. I'm a member of the Race and Equity Commission. I, along with Mr. Green, a fellow member, had an opportunity to prepare the bylaw proposals that you're going to look at today. We, as a committee, spent almost an hour talking about them. You'll find that it's pretty much boilerplate, and the resolution that created our commission reflected in the bylaw document. The only thing that's potentially that wasn't in the creation resolution is the provision for allowing participation in board meetings and working groups virtually with Zoom or the equivalent. Our view was that in addition to the fact that one of our members spends a significant amount of her time working in Boston, although she lives here and works here as well, our view is that with all the years we've had, unfortunately, working through the challenges of the pandemic and using virtual meetings to get the business of government done, we figured that the track record was well established, that it can be successfully done, and that, in fact, efficiencies will be furthered by allowing such participation. Thank you. If anyone has questions, I'll be hanging around.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Any other citizens' comments? Any other citizens' comments? Comments are closed. Thank you. I have an announcement. Supervisor Palmaville, a donation for $200 is going to the Kenosha County Food Bank. Any supervisor reports? Any
Here.
supervisor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can report to you this evening on our earlier Public Works Committee meeting that we had. And as a result of that, you'll be seeing two items on tonight's agenda. One is a jurisdictional transfer, 89th Street, former County Highway F, out in the village of Twin Lakes, Randall, that area. And then there's also an easement on the Kemper property. So those will come up in due course, but just to mention that they'll be on the agenda for this evening. In terms of the highways, as you're probably all aware, Highway 142, County S, Burlington Road, has a lot of names, but it is complete. Had a ribbon-cutting ceremony just a few weeks ago, and for those of us that travel east-west on that, it's a welcome relief, and we're pleased to see that project done. Various other items are being wrapped up and put away in terms of construction for the wintertime. We're starting to switch over and get ready for plowing operations. Been assured that we have a good amount of salt for the winter, and we should be in good shape there. Couple things do come to mind, and that is people have been asking a little bit about the bridge on JB, and that is one of the projects where we anticipate demolition over the winter, and then in the spring a reconstruction of that bridge. In golf, it's always nice to report in golf when things are going well and you have a good season as you've had this past year. I asked in committee, are there any final numbers? And they said, well, no, we're still playing golf. And the weather's been nice enough that even in October, parts of it, the courses were at near capacity, at least Pets was. There was one instance where all the carts were out on the course. So be future referrals to that in terms of the business side of it, but it's been a good season. Brightondale is closed, or will be closing soon. Deer season is out there by Bong. Can be conflicts potentially, so Petrifying Springs will stay open as long as the temperature forecast for that day is 40 degrees or above. Facilities, 3 ongoing projects: detention center, isolation shower modification, that's moving along. Brookside Care sprinkler pipe replacement, it's going on for a while, and a courthouse washroom remodel. So those are the 3 items that are currently there. In facilities, we're still working on some administration building and Narrow building security modifications. Then, as you're aware, the parking lots immediately to the west of our meeting place downtown, Kenosha County Administration Building, the one lot, of course, is done, but now the lot farther to the west is in its nearing completion phases or processes. We're also looking at the detention center. There's some HVAC things that are going to get wrapped up. I should say not wrapped up, actually ongoing through the winter. They try to do some of the cooling type systems that will not be needed, of course, in this cooler weather over the winter. We have some water infiltration issues at Kemper. And in parks, again, good news there. I think people are quite pleased with the way the reconstruction of the Pike Creek through Pets has been accomplished, and some of the trail modifications there. We do have a Nature Center report which I can provide to you, but it's rather lengthy, and I'll leave that for your individual investigation. But that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports? Supervisor Palmville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Judiciary and Law did not meet in November since it was in conflict with the budget hearings, and our next meeting will be December 1st.
Thank you. Any other supervisor reports? Supervisor Rolls.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to suggest that you, as chair, suggest to those who would be appropriate to ask for the National Guard to be in Kenosha before any jury verdict is rendered. I think it's better to be safe here than sorry, that we shouldn't be waiting for trouble, but rather prepared for it. So I would hope, Mr. Chair, that you would take the necessary steps to request that the Wisconsin National Guard be in Kenosha before any jury verdict is rendered. Thank you.
Any other supervisors? We'll move on to new business.
Ordinance, one reading, Ordinance 13, from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Amanda M. and Sean W. Sporl, owner, PDEC sponsor, requests a rezoning from A2 General Agricultural District, R2 Suburban Single Family Residential District, and PR1 Park Recreational District to A2 General Agricultural District and R2 Suburban Single Family Residential District in the town of Paris. Passed unanimously by the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, Supervisors Gaschke, Rodriguez, Mauer, and Nudo voting aye, and Supervisor Beth excused.
Supervisor Gaschke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move ordinance 13.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So basically what this is a map correction. Back in the early 80s, there was a section of the Sporls property that was incorrectly incorrectly zoned due to the Summers Gun Club, which is bordering their property, and this just recently came to light. So again, basically this is simply a map correction to have this property reflect reality. This is not something that needs to go before the local municipalities, so the town of Paris. It has no need to take action on that, just we as a board. Again, this did pass our committee unanimously, and we ask for your support tonight.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried, thank you.
Ordinance 14 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Brian and Jennifer L. Brown, owner, requests an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan, from farmland protection and rural density residential to general agricultural and open land in town of Brighton. Passed unanimously by the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, Supervisors Gashke, Rodriguez, Mauer, and Nudo voting aye. Supervisor Beth excused.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move ordinance 14.
Moved by Supervisor Gashke, second by Supervisor Rodriguez. Supervisor Gashke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This similarly is also kind of a correction of sorts. The Brown family has added to their land over time, and so ultimately this larger chunk of land now needs to all be rezoned because of the increased acreage. This also does not need to go before the local municipality. This is just something that we as a county board need to act upon, and then the Brown family will be able to present this land for future sale or development. Again, this did pass our committee unanimously, and we ask for your support tonight.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nay?
Ordinance 15 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Brian and Jennifer L. Brown, owner, requests a rezoning from A1 Agricultural Preservation District to A2 General Agricultural District in town of Brighton. Passed unanimously by the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, Supervisors Gashke, Rodriguez, Mauer, and Nudo voting aye. Supervisor Beth excused.
Supervisor Gashke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move ordinance 15.
By Supervisor Gashke, second by Supervisor Rodriguez. Supervisor Gashke on the ordinance.
Thank you. This is the same property that we just discussed for ordinance 14, and this is kind of two sides of the same coin. So the first one was a adopted land use map, and now the one before us is a rezone, again, to bring all of this land that's been acquired over time into the same rezone and same land use for future sale or development. We ask for your support tonight.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Motion carries.
Resolution 1 reading 78 from the Executive Committee, a resolution approving the bylaws of the Racial and Ethnic Equity Commission of Kenosha County. Passed unanimously by the Executive Committee, Supervisors O'Day, Uhas, Belsky, Berg, Palmaville, Gashke, and Grady voting aye. Supervisor Gens excused.
Supervisor Gashke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move resolution 78.
Moved by Supervisor Gashke, second by Supervisor Palmaville. Supervisor Gashke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As Mr. Backer mentioned during citizens' comments, Commissioners Backer and Green both worked together on this in coordination with the Corporation Counsel's Office. Again, these bylaws are fairly boilerplate standard language and do incorporate the mission and the purpose and the charge of this commission, and we ask for your support for the bylaws tonight. Thank you.
Any discussion on the bylaws? Supervisor Rowe.
Thank you. We heard the report this evening of Mr. Backer, who's a well-regarded attorney, and I think based on his review of these, we should have confidence in the bylaws presented this evening and worthy of our support.
Any other discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to address 5.9, which we heard about earlier tonight, regarding taking part in this commission via telephone or video conference. It would be my hope that the commission members do what they can to attend these meetings in person. Excuse me. I think when any form of government, including commissions that this county board has created, meets openly and in the public in person, it is most inviting for those in our committee or our community to take place at and participate in. And we've seen, not just with our body, but with the school board as well as the city council, the disdain that some community members have when meeting and virtually. They don't feel like they can take part in that. So I just wanted to voice that. But with that, I'll be supporting this. Thank you.
Any other discussion? No other discussion? We'll take a vote.
Supervisor Belsky?
Aye.
Berg?
Aye.
Beth? Celebrate? Ron Frederick? Gashke?
Aye.
Gentz? Grady?
Aye.
Gully?
Aye.
Kubicki?
Aye.
Lewis? Nordigan? O'Day?
Aye.
Palmaville?
Aye.
Rodriguez?
Aye.
Rose?
Aye.
Wambolt? Uhas?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Yep.
Resolution 79 from the Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution to approve for the approval of 2021 expenditures of American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds, passed unanimously by the Finance Administration Committee. Supervisors Gentz, Frederick, Celebree, Kubicki, Uhas, and Wambolt voting aye. Supervisor Franco excused.
Supervisor Gentz.
Mr. Chairman, I move Resolution 79.
Moved by Supervisor Gentz, second by Supervisor Ron Frederick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you will all recall, this was sent back to the Finance Committee to look at the specific part regarding bonuses for our employees. We had a nice discussion. We were presented with 6 plans, and we looked them over, and it was our goal and our charter from you to come to back to this board with our recommendation. So I'll just summarize for the committee. I mean, we took into account the risk factor, and we wanted to make it fair and equitable. So we came up with $2,400 for the people that were face-to-face with the public and those who worked over 6 hours in the clinics, and $1,200 for everybody else, and $750 for seasonal and part-time. So that was what we as a board came up with, or as a committee came up with, and we passed that unanimously, and I would ask for your support this evening. Thank you.
Hold on a second. Supervisor Rodriguez, you were first, I believe.
Thank you. Through the chair to either Supervisor Gentz or whoever can answer this. Supervisor Gentz, you said $750 for seasonal and part-time. The email that we got says for seasonal and temporary.
Seasonal and temporary, I think, was what was. I'm not looking at the memo, but that's what it was.
Okay.
So sorry about that.
No, that's. I just wanted to clarify. So, part-time employees, depending on what they were, may fall into any of the 3 of these categories. Is that correct?
Through the chair to the director of finance, she was the one who crunched all those numbers and worked with HR to come up with who would get what. So I wasn't part of that discussion, so if you could enlighten us, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly. Yes, you are correct. Part-timers who were in those higher risk, elevated risk categories would be receiving the $2,400.
Okay. And then with that, I just want to thank Patty. She was able to answer some questions I had earlier tonight. over the last couple weeks since we originally sent this back to the Finance Committee, I've had the chance to speak with numerous county employees, and one thing I've heard from all of them is that they're appreciative of the fact that we're doing this. But the other thing is they question what bonuses brand new employees get, and that was something that I was concerned with when we talked about this a few weeks ago. Was we were told by staff that if this passes the day the checks go out, if it was somebody's theoretical their first day, they would get that bonus, and I don't think that's appropriate. Speaking with Patty, that's not what would happen with this. It would be, if this passes as is tonight, it would be any employee employed by Kenosha County as of yesterday, whatever category they fall into. Again, I think that's not appropriate. I don't know if we had any brand new employees yesterday who started yesterday, but I would suggest, and we can work with Corp Counsel for the language here, but I would make a motion to amend the 750 category to 750 for seasonal and temporary, and employees newer than 6 months. I don't think that those employees deserve nothing. I think they deserve something. They've been with Kenosha County, but I don't necessarily believe that a brand new employee who may fall into one of the greater categories has put in. I'll leave it at that. So that would be my motion. And speaking with Patty, just to clarify, she did say that that was possible. She could do that, would not cause delay, would not cause issue.
You made that a motion?
Yes.
Did you get a second?
Mr. Chairman, can I speak? I have a question about the motion.
Did
Can I listen? Man,
No. You're the one asking for the second. Did we get a second or not?
Well, if Supervisor Rose wants to second it so he can ask his question.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
all right. The way I heard the criteria stated by Mr. Gens, it would not matter whether or not you started 2 months ago or not. It would be a matter of, did you, during the August of 2020, face, for example, during that riotous period, were you involved in the health department
No.
is doing working in COVID? Does the time of start of employment have anything to do with this? Because I don't really see it in the resolution here.
If you're asking me, no, it doesn't, because we could have played around with seniority, time of employment, all different things, and we just wanted to, I heard from this board to make it fair and equitable, and I won't be supporting the motion on the floor, because we also want to do this to attract and retain, and I know a lot of our people are getting, headhunted by other communities and other things, and I think this is a piece that will help us in attracting and retaining employees as well. So, I mean, it was sent back to us to make it simple, fair, and equitable. I mean, we could certainly divide up everything and go in with a fine-tooth comb to everything. I don't want to do that. I just want to make it straight across the board, fair and equitable. So, to answer your question, no, that wasn't part of it. It was just, hey, if you were in front of the face-to-face with the public during COVID, and it had nothing to do with the riots, but COVID time, you get more, and if not, you get the smaller amount. That was our thought process after a nice, healthy debate. That's what we came up with as a committee. Thank you.
So just a question to follow that. If one began employment 2 months ago, what category do you fall into? For example, if you're a sheriff's deputy, you work for the health department as a nurse dealing with the public.
The $2,400 category.
Is that the $2,400 category?
Correct.
Mr. Gans?
Yes. Right? That's what you.
That's correct.
Yes. So.
Did you answer that, Patty?
Yes, that is correct.
And what's your rationale before that?
Pardon me?
You are the finance director, whoever can answer.
rationale?
What's your rationale
Either-
for it?
My rationale for that, my personal rationale, I'm not going to speak for the committee and everybody else, was I sat here and I listened to 11 different ways to do this. I mean, it would take staff, weeks to figure out all the different ways to do this. And the recurring theme was fair and equitable. So I just wanted to make it a very simplistic thing of if you're face to face with the public in those type of jobs, then that's what you get. And if not, it's $1,200, and the seasonal and temporary is $750. That was what we debated back and forth and came up. There were proposals that tried to break it down by everything from seniority to other things that even got more into the minutia, and we chose to do it equitably, simplistically, and move that forward. Thank you.
Supervisor Belsky.
I would just say, for the motion, Supervisor Rodriguez, if somebody started a week ago and they're working clinics, I think they're deserving of the bonus in good faith that they're working for a good organization. So I think we should move forward and not focus so much on when they started. It's very hard to attract and retain employees. So if we do have new employees and they do get a bonus, I don't think that's slighting other employees. I think we should move forward with this, and we can talk about something next year perhaps for the use of ARPA money and what we do for our employees. Thank you.
Supervisor Berg.
Can I clarify something about my motion? Make sure Supervisor Belsky fully understands.
Go ahead. Clarify.
I just want to be sure that I'm not saying that employees newer than 6 months get nothing, just that they would be added to the 750 category. Not that I don't want any of our employees that are employed currently to not get anything. If you're newer than 6 months, you would fall into that 750 category. I heard the word equitable. We've all been taught over the last year, at least, equitable is not the same as equal. And I don't think it's equitable to our long-term employees who have been here greater than 6 months, who have stuck it out, especially in that elevated risk category. I don't think it is equitable for them to give somebody who's brand new within 6 months that same amount of money.
Supervisor Berg.
I don't think it was 11 options that we gave you. I think it was 13.
I stand corrected.
And to that point, I think you guys did a great job in finance. I thank finance and HR for working together and getting this put together and making this look the way it looks today. I've been in government. I've been working in government for over 20 years. It doesn't matter how you set it up. You're always going to have people that are not going to agree. I think this is the easiest thing to do. This is the best thing to do, and I'm not going to support the amendment. I will support the resolution that's on the floor. So, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to clarify, too, that if you remember the ARPA report, the preliminary bare bones thing that we got presented to us, it had 4 years of smaller bonus numbers. We decided as a committee to roll those all into one to get to the 2.65 number. So this is not something the Finance Committee or me personally are looking to do in the future. We don't give out bonuses. So I wanted to roll it all into one and do it the max amount. That's one thing. And if you're going to go by the fact that Kenosha County still has masks mandated for their employees, there's still risk. So, whether they're hired 6 months ago or not, they're still involved in risky situations, supposedly. And I also want to tell the committee that this is moving forward, and if I think 2 people don't support it, none of our employees will get bonuses. So consider that. I mean, we brought this back in good faith, did our due diligence, thought about it, worked it out to the best of our ability, and we ask you to support it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gully.
So to the finance director, just ballpark, what percentage of the workforce falls into that elevated risk category?
In the costing worksheets that we were working with, there were 1,115 employees, and about 770 of them fall into the elevated risk category.
Was that 80, almost 80%?
I didn't do a percentage, I'm sorry,
Okay.
but yes.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote on the amendment. You want a roll call?
Yeah.
Belsky,
No.
Berg,
No.
Beth.
No.
Celebrate. Ron Frederick. Gashke,
Nay.
Gentz,
No.
Grady, Gully,
No.
Kubicki,
Nay.
Lewis, Nordigan, O'Day, Palmaville,
No.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Rose,
No.
Wambolt, Uhas.
Nay.
Motion fails, or the amendment fails.
Any other discussion on the motion? Supervisor Rodriguez.
Thank you. Through the chair to the chair of the finance committee, well, to all those on the finance committee and to the county staff. I think this is a much better plan. I applaud you guys for taking this plan, bringing it to the county board. I've been at the courthouse quite a bit the last 2 weeks. Usually there quite a bit for work anyways. Had a chance to speak with mostly deputies who I'm interacting with at this point. And I just want to convey to the board how grateful the deputies are for this, for us recognizing the work that they've given and put in over the last year, 2 years almost. And this, I cannot praise enough, this is a better plan than what we were originally presented. And with that, to the sheriff, if he's still here, I know I had a chance to speak with you one-on-one. Again, I want to commend you, all of your deputies, for the work they're putting in, not only right now with a very political and publicized trial downtown, but over the last nearly 2 years. And so you deserve a lot of credit, and so do all of your deputies. So thank you. That's all.
Supervisor Palmville.
Through the chair to Ms. Tappa, when would employees be receiving these bonus checks?
If the resolution passes this evening, we will run a final list, do an accurate accounting talk with division directors to make sure that we didn't miss someone. You'll notice in the write-up we talked about, although the IT division itself might not be a high risk or elevated risk group, there were those who were at all of your meetings, and we thought that we captured them, but we would verify that with different divisions, get an accurate list together to payroll, and most likely they would be on the check of December 3rd. If something got held up and that could not happen, they would be on the check of December 17th.
Wonderful, thank you. I was hoping it would be there by Christmas. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Any other questions? If not, this requires a roll call vote.
Supervisor Belsky.
Aye.
Berg.
Aye.
Beth.
Aye.
Celebrate.
Aye.
Ron Frederick. Gashke,
Aye.
Gentz.
Aye.
Grady,
Aye.
Gully,
Aye.
Kubicki,
Aye.
Lewis, Nordigan, O'Day, Palmaville,
Aye.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Rose,
Aye.
Wambolt, Uhas.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Resolution 80 from the Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution request to approve the appointment of Michael Underhill to the Kenosha County Library System Board, passed unanimously by the Finance Administration Committee. Supervisors Gentz, Frederick, Celebrate, Kubicki, Uhas, and Wambolt voting aye. Supervisor Franco excused.
Supervisor Gentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Resolution 80.
Moved by Supervisor Gentz, second by Supervisor Celebrate. Supervisor Gentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Underhill will be succeeding himself, and he did attend 14 of the 15 meetings that were held. The committee approved it unanimously, and I ask for your support this evening. Thank you.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carried. Thank you.
Resolution 81 from the Finance and Administration Committee, 2021 Information Technology Resolution to recognize additional revenue and modify expenditure benefit budgets for services incurred for the DKI Wi-Fi network from the City of Kenosha. Passed unanimously by the Finance Administration Committee, Supervisors Gens, Frederick, Celebrity, Kubicki, Uhas, and Wamble voting aye. Supervisor Franco excused.
Supervisor Against.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Resolution 81.
Moved by Supervisor Against, second by Supervisor Kubicki. Supervisor Against.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an agreement we have with the city, and when they pay us, it comes through as a budget modification like this, and we receive the $10,000. So it is something we work together with to bring Wi-Fi to the downtown area. And the committee supported it unanimously, and I would ask for your support this evening. Thank you.
Any discussion? Seeing none, this requires a roll call vote.
Supervisor Belsky?
Aye.
Berg?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Celebrity? Ron Frederick? Gashke?
Aye.
Gents?
Aye.
Grady?
Aye.
Gully?
Aye.
Kubicki?
Aye.
Lewis? Nordigan? O'Day?
Aye.
Palmaville?
Aye.
Rodriguez?
Aye.
Rose?
Aye.
Wamble? Uhas?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Resolution 82 from the Public Works and Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution authorizing sections of 89th Street, former County Trunk Highway F, to be jurisdictionally transferred or vacated to the Village of Twin Lakes, the Town of Randall, and/or adjacent property owners. Passed unanimously by the Public Works and Facilities Committee, Supervisors Grady, Franco, Belsky, Berg, Palmaville, and Nudo voting aye. Supervisor Rodriguez was excused. Passed unanimously by the Finance and Administration Committee, Supervisors Gens, Frederick, Celebrity, Kubicki, Uhas, and Wamble voting aye. Supervisor Franco excused.
Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move resolution number 82.
Moved by Supervisor Grady, second by Supervisor Gens. Supervisor Grady?
Yes, for those of you not familiar with the area, we're looking at the intersection basically of County F and County O. It's been much improved in terms of lighting, signage, safety, wider travel lanes. It's all been good. We do have the existing County F that needs to be taken off of the county's list of things to maintain and to do, because basically it's a cul-de-sac. So it's a good thing for all of us. Mr. Arbit is here. If you have any questions, he can answer them in excruciating detail. But other than that, I would ask for your approval.
Any discussion?
I have a question.
No.
Not a ray.
Supervisor Nordigan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To either the chairman of the Public Works, we'll leave it at that. Do we have intergovernmental agreements between Twin Lakes and Randall, and have both Twin Lakes and Randall approved all this?
It is my understanding that's the case. We'd like Mr. Arbit to address that.
It's just a simple one word.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Carried, thank you.
Resolution 83 from the Public Works and Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution, Wisconsin Electric Power Company, We Energies, permanent easement request at the Kemper Center property. It passed unanimously by the Public Works and Facilities Committee, Supervisors Grady, Franco, Belsky, Berg, Palmaville, and Nudo voting aye. Supervisor Rodriguez excused. From the Finance and Administration Committee, Supervisors Gens, Frederick, Celebrity, Uhas, and Wamble voting aye. Supervisor Kubicki abstained, and Supervisor Franco excused.
Supervisor Grady.
Move resolution number 83.
Moved Moved by Supervisor Grady, second by Supervisor Gins. Supervisor Grady on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a bit of housekeeping as well. The power actually comes off of 3rd Avenue to the Kemper Center campus, but it's routed in such a way previously, long time ago, that it comes perilously close to the shoreline, and we know about the erosion and all the difficulties that are there. So the decision is to relocate that a bit more westward, and the real fun part, that's a happy part about this is, the energy company, W Energy, is going to do it at their expense. So when we heard that, it was a happy thing. We asked for your approval this evening.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carried.
Chairman O'Day,
No.
just
Yes.
like the
How do you
record
do?
reflect I abstained.
I
Just like the record reflect that I abstained on this vote.
I have that on the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 84 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, a resolution regarding Brian and Jennifer L. Brown, owner, requests an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County, 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan, from the farmland protection and rural density residential to general agricultural and open land in the town of Brighton. Passed unanimously by the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, Supervisors Gashke, Rodriguez, Mauer, and Nudo voting aye, Supervisor Beth excused.
Supervisor Gashke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 84.
Moved by Supervisor Gashke, second by Supervisor Rodriguez. Supervisor Gashke on the motion.
Okay, so what we have before us is really the same thing that we addressed under Ordinance 14. Anytime that there is an adopted land use plan, the state of Wisconsin requires both an ordinance and a resolution. So really, this is a procedural issue. Again, we ask for your support on this tonight so that the Brown family can consolidate and rezone their property.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carried. Thank you.
Resolution 85 from the Planning, Development, Extension Education Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Andy M. Bueller to the Southeastern Wisconsin Fox River Commission. Passed unanimously by the Planning, Development, Extension Education Committee, Supervisors Gashke, Rodriguez, Mauer, and Nudo voting aye. Supervisor Beth excused.
Supervisor Gashke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 85.
Moved by Supervisor Gashke, second by Supervisor Rodriguez. Move Supervisor Gashke on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As the clerk mentioned, Director Bueller's nomination to this committee was unanimous, notably including Supervisor Nudo. And that goes to show you how we all had, including Supervisor Nudo, we all had a good chuckle about it at committee meeting. But in all seriousness, Director Bueller is a highly qualified individual to be reappointed to serve. And what this commission does is it works closely with other organizations, both in Wisconsin and Illinois, and allows us to have access to some grants and things like that, things happening up or downstream from us. So to have Director Bueller continue to serve on this would be a good idea, and we ask for your support tonight. Thank you.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nay? Motion carried. Thank you.
Communications 8, communications from Andy M. Bueller regarding future items scheduled for the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
Receive and file.
The approval of the November 3rd and November 8th, 2021 minutes by Supervisor Gully.
Supervisor Gully.
Approve the minutes.
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Thank you. Thanks for coming to this outside location tonight.